Ukrainian defense forces targeted an important facility of Russia's military-industrial complex in the early hours of May 21st. According to the General Staff of the Armed Forces, the Bolkhov semiconductor device plant in the Oryol region was struck, reportedly causing a fire. The facility is a leading Russian enterprise in the field of development and production of semiconductor devices supplying components for Sukhoi aircraft, Iskander and Kinjal missiles. Despite the facility being under international sanctions, it produces almost 3 million devices annually and employs about 700 people. 10 UAVs were confirmed to have reached the target area, with detailed information on the damages still being clarified. There should be as many sanctioning steps as necessary for Russia to become interested in peace, stated President Zelenskyy. In his evening address, he welcomed the decision of the European Union to impose a 17th sanctions package against Russia. Zelenskyy stressed that it's important for Moscow to feel the full price of its aggression and desire to prolong the war.
It is Moscow that is dragging out the war. Therefore, Russian oil, the tanker fleet, and all the energy infrastructure that finances the war, all their banks, all financial schemes in Russia's military industry, all these must be targeted by sanctions. I discussed with Ursula von der Leyen the next sanctioning steps, Europe's steps, the 18th sanctions package. It is already being prepared. The United Kingdom has also made a sanctions decision. I am grateful for that. We also continue working on sanctions at various levels with the United States. We are making the case that this is exactly what is needed to stop Putin from lying about ending the war.
While in Brussels, the Ukrainian Foreign Minister Andriy Sybiha also welcomed the EU's 17th package of sanctions against Russia, underlining the need to pressure Moscow. In particular, Ukraine calls on the group of 7 countries to reduce the price ceiling on Russian oil.
We also must step beyond 17 package. Oil price cap and our point of view, our position, reasonable price cap $30. Also, we need to pressure and we need to impact sanctions on banking system, on banking infrastructure, Russian banking infrastructure, including central bank.
EU member states have already committed 2/3 of 2 million artillery shells that they aim to provide to Ukraine by the end of 2025. This was reported by the Ukrainian Minister of Foreign Affairs, Andriy Sybiha, on X. After a meeting with the EU High Representative for Foreign Affairs and Security Policy, Kaja Kallas, in Brussels, he stated that the countries are working to cover the remaining third as soon as possible. Sybiha added that work to increase pressure on Russia is continuing, stressing that sanctions are an effective tool for defunding Russia's war budget and forcing them into peace. Ukrainian forces are observing a buildup of Russian troops near the state border in the Kharkiv direction, indicating possible preparations for a renewed assault. This was stated by Andriy Pomhaibus, Chief of Staff of the 13th Kharkiv Brigade of the National Guard, during a Suspina media broadcast on May 21st. According to him, Russian forces typically employ a combined approach using artillery, strike, and recon drones, and heavy equipment alongside infantry maneuvers. He added that Moscow troops often distract attention in one area while advancing in another. Ukrainian defenders showcased repelling another Russian assault with corresponding footage released by the 71st Separate Jaeger Brigade on May 21st. Moscow troops attempted to attack Ukrainian positions using armored vehicles with infantry on board. However, these actions were detected by Ukrainian defenders, who delivered a devastating reprisal with artillery and FPV drones. Any Russian soldiers who managed to dismount and hide in the forest were quickly detected by thermal vision drones and eliminated. The U.S. Senate is prepared to vote on a sanctions bill targeting Russia if peace negotiations over the war in Ukraine fail to make progress soon. This was stated by U.S. Senator Lindsey Graham on May 20th, reported Voice of America journalist Yana Voroshko. During a Senate Foreign Relations Committee hearing, he added that if the next few days are like the last few months, then he and others are ready to bring the sanctions bill to a vote. The document introduced in early April by Senators Graham and Blumenthal would impose sweeping penalties on Russia. It includes a proposed 500% tariff on imports from countries that purchase Russian oil, petroleum products, natural gas, or uranium. According to Graham, the bill has the backing of 72 senators, a clear majority in the chamber. Pope Leo XIV has confirmed the Vatican's readiness to host the next round of peace negotiations between Ukraine and Russia. According to an Italian government statement released on Tuesday, the offer was made following a phone call between the Pope and Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni. Earlier, she had held a conversation with the US President and several European leaders. Meloni expressed deep gratitude to the Pope for his unceasing commitment to peace, the statement said. A sanctioned Russian vessel from the so-called Shadow Fleet performed suspicious maneuvers close to a power cable connecting Poland with Sweden, stated the Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk. According to a post Tusk published on X after effective intervention by the Polish military, the ship sailed off to a Russian port. The Polish Heveliusz survey ship is currently headed to the scene to investigate this unusual activity.